Good morning, Southern California, AM 1220 KHTS. Host Fred Arnold on the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce Business Spotlight. I'm joined by my friend Sue M. Bendavid. Sue, welcome to the show.
Fred, thank you.
Sue is with Lewitt Hackman in Encino, California. She's also a fellow Provisors member with me.
I am.
Yes. After graduating from Cal State Northridge, you attended law school.
I did.
You got a JD from Loyola Law School.
Yes, almost 27 years ago.
Wow.
Yep.
My daughter's boyfriend is getting a degree there, or actually going to school there, hopefully getting a degree there in September.
It's a fabulous school. It's really a good school.
Excellent, excellent. So I'm excited. I want to talk about something really important for business, and that is employment law. Now, I know you typically represent the businesses, right?
Right, only companies.
Only companies being sued, but there's a big challenge that it comes to when it comes to wage and hour, and that's really what we wanted to talk about today.
Yep.
Let's kind of talk about all-encompassing wage and hour. Let's talk about that topic in general.
Right. So wage and hour is one of the areas that you can be hit from a claim whether you have one employee or whether you have thousands of employees. So it's an area that we see frequently where employers are making mistakes. It's an area where just a few changes can save you a lot of money at the end of the day. And what is wage and hour? It's how are you keeping track of your employees' work hours? How are you paying them overtime? Are your pay periods correct? Are you paying them on time? What do you do with your meal breaks, your rest breaks for your employees? What about overtime? Are you paying the correct premiums? Could be classification issues. Certain people are classified as independent contractors when they really are employees, or classification of exempt versus non-exempt in terms of the overtime. So many ways to make mistakes, and really, if you take some steps to correct it in advance, you can avoid a big headache at the end of the day.
Well, you mentioned a whole lot right there, and I do want to address a few items, and that is if you could just get a payroll company, if you're a small company, to actually keep track of everything, that would be one step, because it becomes too loosey-goosey and you're not tracking hours and overtime and vacation hours and sick time. Just getting a third party to help you.
Right, absolutely. Third parties can help a lot with payroll companies, and they're great. Payroll companies oftentimes just will spit out the information that you give them to put on the pay stub. So it depends on the type of company you're using.
Yeah, and you have to track that. Let's talk about wage and hour as far as an employee that's maybe exempt or one that's not exempt.
Right.
One that gets paid hourly, and you got to pay him for that 15-minute overtime or not.
Right, yes, you absolutely do. If somebody works overtime, if they work more than 8 hours in the day or 40 in the week, it's overtime. And sometimes employees are very friendly to their employers, and they're very loyal, and they're nice, and they say, don't worry about it. But it's not a waivable right. Mm-hmm. If they work it, they're supposed to get paid.
So let's talk about something it's important as an employer for us, and that is allowing flexibility in work schedules. We want our employees to get the work done. We want them to be there as close to 8 hours as possible, but sometimes they want to go see that soccer game, or they want to go see that baseball game, or they want to go to a dance recital, and we want to let them have that flexibility. So they want to work through lunch, and they eat at their desk, or they take a quick call and run outside, but is it timed for 15 minutes? That's where I think there's a lot of exposure on what you allow. Whose responsibility is that?
Right. So this is sometimes where no good deed goes unpunished,
right.
Really is the saying that works. And the rule is a 30-minute duty-free meal break for every 5-hour work period. So it's a 30-minute. And oftentimes employees do want to work through to get home and leave early.
Right. And then that's a flexible work schedule, right, where it's like, okay, you want to sit at your desk and work, but they might sit for 20 minutes and eat, and that's it.
Right. And so a lot of it does boil down to and depend on how good is your policy. If you have a good policy in writing, and if you do everything that you're supposed to do, then potentially you have a little more flexibility. The courts, the good news is the courts have come down and they say, we don't need to be the meal period police, employers.
Right.
But the problem is you're going to have records that show that they work through lunch. So you really have to make sure that your policies are written the way they're supposed to, that employees know the rules, know the flexibility, and that it's truly of their own decision to do this. And the battle is sometimes proving that after the fact.
Let me ask you, if you as a boss in prudence say, look, it's important that you take some time away from your desk, and you reiterate every so often, does that help you at all, or do they just say, no, you need to really be on this?
I think policies are really important, and reminding employees are really important. So I would suggest if you do that, that'd be great. Take that. It's 30 minutes.
Yep.
They can really take the 30 minutes and take that time and take their lunch breaks.
Rapid fire, what are some things that you could do to protect yourself? Notices?
Notices, yes. Policies, important. Doing a wage and hour audit, would be really key. Let's take a look at your timesheets and compare that with your pay stubs. See what that looks like. Do we see any holes, any problems? Doing an audit would be a really great thing, and revising the handbook on a regular basis too. Yeah.
Last question before
Yeah.
we finish up, and that is, you practice law. What do you find that's most enjoyable to you?
The most enjoyable, I think, is to preventing the claims in the first place. I go in, we do lots of trainings for managers and teach them what to do, what not to do, and how to protect themselves. And I find I'm really fulfilled when I see that people are learning, and then they listen, they heed the advice, and then they're able to avoid those claims.
I think in the world that at least people I know, there's a better awareness, I think, with employers and wanting to provide the great work environment that you want to have.
Right.
And hopefully we're going in that direction as a society.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope so too.
Those who want to reach out to you, how can they get you, Sue?
I'm at Lewitt Hackman in Encino, and you can find me on the web, Sue Bendavid, or my phone number, 818-907-3220.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you so
Yep,
much.
love networking with Sue, with Provisors. Sue Bendavid, Sue M. Bendavid, Lewitt Hackman and Encino. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed this edition on the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce Business Spotlight. I'm your host, Fred Arnold, on AM 1220 KHTS.